Good afternoon, everyone. This is episode 52 of the Off Topical podcast. My name is Gardner.
My name is Raven.
And this episode, we're talking about the Windows Terminal app. We're talking about Litigious Larry and the reason ZFS isn't being included in the Linux kernel. And we're just kind of talking, having a good time. It's going to be awesome. If you're not listening on the website, head over to... If you're listening on the website, head over to Off Topical. If you're listening on YouTube, head over to offtopical.net. And similarly, if you're listening on the website, head over to YouTube, youtube.com/offtopical. And with that, let's get started. All right, Raven, we have our first story today. Have you heard about this, the ZFS in the Linux kernel?
I haven't heard anything about Linus not wanting to put it in there. I remember, sometime last year, Canonical and others were talking about adding ZFS support and, everything else. And I heard that Linux supported it. I don't use it personally. But I did not know that they were going to actually put it in the kernel code. I feel like with the way Oracle is, look at what Oracle did to Java. Java's been GPL licensed for over a decade, maybe 2 decades. I don't know how long Oracle's, I don't know how long Java's been GPL, but I know it's been at least 10 to 15 years. And look at what they did. You have to use OpenJDK now because of the new license, and it's like they're very willing to just change everything for their own benefit.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up when Java came out as a open source project, but it doesn't say. But the thing about that is look at how they have treated Google with the Android and Dalvik or whatever it was called. Dalvik isn't part of Android anymore, is it? It's pretty much gone now.
I think for the most part, yeah, unless you're using an older version. Also, side note, 2006 is when they announced the OpenJDK project and everything. And that was when it was Sun Microsystems, and Oracle bought them and they kept the practice up. And now OpenJDK is the test ground / stable branch, and then Oracle has its Oracle stuff plus everything that's in OpenJDK. I don't fully really understand / care about the differences, but there it is, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we're at a point where, I feel like open source is at a crossroads, and I've heard a lot of people, a lot of Linux personalities have been talking about this, where, what is the definition of open source, and what does it actually mean to have a free and open source project?
Oh, yeah.
The fact is, ZFS or ZFS, I don't know how people want me to pronounce it, and I don't really care. ZFS is under a common development distribution license that's owned by Sun, and it's technically open source, but it's pretty much proprietary. And the fact that people want it included in the Linux kernel, if you want it in the Linux kernel, it's got to be under a license that's compatible with the GPL. I don't know what CDDL stance is in regard to GPL, but I don't think it's open source enough, just from what I've read. And the fact that Ubuntu is doing this, Linus basically said in this post that if you're going to be using ZFS on Linux, he can't be responsible for it. These are kernel modules that he doesn't have control over. They're not part of the Linux stack. And so if Ubuntu goes ahead and puts ZFS in it, you know what? They're on their own with that. That's up to them to support and maintain.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can blame them either.
No. There is the Open ZFS project, which I think is probably maybe what Canonical might use. I'm not sure. It's a fork of it. But I don't know how good it is. Again, I'm not really too much into file systems and all. I just don't have a use for something like ZFS. I know it has a lot of neat features. I know that, but
Yeah, I don't even know what the features are. I just know that there are a lot of people who are really enthused about it. But like, I mean, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, and Mozilla said that the CDDL is incompatible with the GPL. I mean, I'm willing to take Mozilla's word on that. I mean, I'll have to read the license myself, but like GPL is pretty it's pretty it cares about your freedoms, and if the license doesn't, then it's pretty much incompatible with whatever license you're talking about. So I don't know. I think that this is the right take. Basically what Linus said is that if people want him to include it, they have to get either chief legal counsel at Oracle or the Larry, what's his name? The guy running Larry, where am I?
Litigious Larry is a much better name for him, to be fair.
Yeah. Larry Ellison. He has to sign off on it. Either the chief legal counsel at Oracle or Larry Ellison themselves have to sign off.
I would demand both signatures, the current CEO and the Oracle legal team, to sign off that Linux has permission to implement the ZFS for now and the foreseeable future.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it would have to be like an in perpetuity thing. Yeah, because like even if you look at Torvalds even cited the fact that Oracle is suing Google over Java, and it's like OpenZFS, while it's open source, ZFS isn't, and they own the patents on ZFS. So it's like, that's just opening them up for
well, one of the reasons why Google used Java in the first place is because of the GPL. So yeah, that's what makes it so bad. Is I'm interested to see where that case goes, because, I'm not really the biggest fan of Google. Everyone who listens to this podcast knows that.
Right.
But I don't feel like they did anything wrong. But, maybe Oracle can prove otherwise. I mean...
Well, the thing is, you don't have to prove much when you're talking about computers, because a lot of judges don't know anything about computers or how programming works or anything like that.
Yeah, but they still have to prove that they violated the GPL.
Right.
Or they violated Oracle's license. And that doesn't really require computers. That just involves reading the license and then looking at what Google did. And if they can prove that, then, I'm fine with whatever the judge rules. But on the other hand, I'm also kind of like, Oracle's kind of shitting on Google, but Google is one of the reasons why Java is so popular in the first place. Yeah. Like, Java was popular to begin with. But thanks to Android, Java is insanely popular.
Right.
Like, and Minecraft made Java popular. It's like, Oracle kind of reminds me of like a really rich guy who just doesn't know anything about anything anymore.
Yeah.
And then he's like got all this money, and then someone picks up a penny, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna kill you."
That is my penny. Yeah. Give me my penny back. You just stole from me.
Like, on the one hand, yeah, Google's a big company and all. But on the other hand, the mutual benefit that they both receive from each other far outweighs this messy, ugly fight over Java, because the switch for the Oracle license really, in my opinion, like from my experience with people that I know, it made people not want to use Java anymore. People that use it at companies where they have to use Java, a lot of my friends have just used OpenJDK. And some have completely just left. They went to C# because, I mean, it works, and it's MIT licensed. So, Mono and .NET Core are, and they're soon going to be. I believe Core will eventually be the reigning king of the three.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, point is more that I don't know. I'm blown away that it's like it's like cutting your own foot off. And then being mad at the world that your foot's cut off. It's just strange.
Right. Well, the thing is, too, about the Google and Oracle lawsuit is that, like, Google didn't do anything wrong. And if it's ruled that they were at fault, if they're ruled, like, as if they stole the IP of... I mean, it's basically going to, like, make programming a lot harder. Like, it's going to kind of... Huh?
For Java, for sure, because no one's going to trust
for Java
Oracle anymore.
But the fact is, like, I mean, it's going to set a bad precedent. And like, what's going to happen if if Microsoft is like, you know what, we actually don't like what Wine is doing, that's going to be a big deal. I mean, if the precedent is set that Oracle owns the IP, and like anyone who imitates what Java does,
well,
that then they're in contempt of or in violation of the IP. Well, then Microsoft would have a legal grounds to sue the Wine project.
Sort of.
I mean, I really think that that's going to happen.
From my understanding, well, Steve Ballmer was in charge when Wine was a thing, and he didn't do anything about Wine. So I don't really think Wine's going to go anywhere. If Steve Ballmer didn't kill it, I don't think anyone else is going to kill it because.
But the fact that like it's included in Steam, I mean, like
that doesn't matter.
That's a big deal.
So long as they obey Wine's license, it actually doesn't matter how it's packaged. Because that's the big issue here is Oracle is arguing that Google broke the GPL. So, or they broke Oracle's license. They broke a license agreement, essentially. So my question is like, did Oracle... Because, if you have the GPL, so Google has to release all the code. Well, all the code for Android's available. So I'm not really sure what they broke. It'd be really stupid if there was a 1.0 version of Android and then someone had accidentally left in some Oracle specific API and this is what we're fighting over. That wouldn't really affect much though, because you could only claim it for the very early versions of Android. But if they're claiming it for all, I just don't see it. I actually just don't see how Oracle plans to win this. I mean, obviously this is a battle to whoever has the bigger lawyer, or the better lawyer, rather, I should say. But I don't know. I just don't see it. Because from my understanding, Oracle is claiming that Google stole their IP. And I assume by that they mean their API for Java. But, again, I go back to its GPL. And if they release the source code, then they didn't violate anything. So it just seems weird to me. I mean, it's a very typical Oracle move, though. So... Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't mean they win. Personally, I would just throw it out. But, again, you'd have to look at the evidence. And I haven't been following the case very well because I don't like Oracle or Google, so I don't really care. Yeah. And I don't work with Java anymore, so I care even less.
I feel like the fact that this is about APIs, it's not even about the... it's not about the license, really. It's about imitating how an API works.
It's because Java includes, it's like the .NET framework. It includes a whole bunch of stuff. Not everything in the Java JDK is GPL. And that's the whole point of OpenJDK. So if you use Oracle's JDK, you have quote-unquote Oracle stuff in there. I'm not really sure which is which, to be totally frank, but that seems to be what they're arguing, is that that's what Google stole. And I mean, Google's huge. I can't imagine someone in their legal team would have missed that.
Right.
Or it's Oracle not accepting the fact that their Java platform is, GPL and people can do it and they're suing anyway, which is completely valid. I mean, you're welcome to do it. It's just, you have to be able to prove that you did it.
Right.
And I mean, literally all this is doing is killing Java. And that's all they've done for the past 2 years, in my opinion. It's just kill Java. They don't like Java anymore, which is weird because Java should make them a lot of money. No, not just that. Even if it doesn't make it money for them directly, it makes it indirectly. It's a good product for Oracle to own and control. It'd be a shame to see Java just die because Oracle's a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever. I mean, you could continue to use the OpenJDK version forever and maintain it forever, just never improve it or merge with any of the other stuff.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to this. I think that it's the right move to not include ZFS.
Absolutely. Don't trust Oracle. That is absolutely hands down the best move, in my opinion, is to just not trust Oracle. Because, as we were talking about, I mean, Java has been GPL since 2006. I don't think the first release was until early 2007, but they announced it in 2006. And, I'm sure they had test versions back then. So my point, I guess I'm getting at is they did that with Java, like, I mean, imagine what they'll do with ZFS or anything else they own. Like, can you imagine if Oracle was like, we're going to give Oracle Database to everyone for free? Just buy our hardware and you can run it. Yeah. A year later, everyone owes us license now.
Yeah. That sounds like
that pretty much to me, that's what this Oracle versus Google thing kind of feels like. It feels like Oracle just wants money for something that, you know, they didn't do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of companies that just, they don't develop anything. They just go and, you know,
sue
for that, but
buy
they
stuff?
just sue. They buy intellectual property, you know, and then they have the copyrights and the patents, and they just sue people for it.
So,
you know, for infringing it. It's like
on Wikipedia, the dispute is between around the Java API, which are owned by Google. I'm sorry, Oracle. My bad, Oracle.
Yeah.
And Google has admitted to using the APIs and has since transitioned Android to a copyright unburdened engine, but claims their original use of the API was within fair use. So I'm not really sure what they used at all. It's strange. Yeah. It's going to the Supreme Court. That is nuts.
Yeah. Well,
see, that's where it'll have such huge ramifications, is if the Supreme Court rules on it. You know, if it was a lower court, it would just be two large companies having a smack fest against each other. But, but it'll be interesting because, I mean, it'll depend on the language as well. Like, just because the Supreme Court rules on it, their language will, like, how they choose to rule will be the big deciding factor. But if the Supreme Court rules that GPL is valid for that, that'll be the first time ever that GPL has ever been argued in the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
and that'll cement it in stone.
If they rule though that Google is at fault by imitating API calls, I mean, that's kind of a huge deal in the other way. Like, that would make, like, any open source implementation of proprietary libraries a violation of copyright or patents.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the scary thing.
It's interesting.
Yeah, see, it's scary, dude.
Well, the problem is Dalvik was a clean room implementation of Java, wasn't it?
Right.
And it was made by the Apache Software Foundation. So, I mean, I don't know. That's really interesting. Fortunately, the Supreme Court is quite a bit smarter than most of the lower courts for the most part. Mostly because they have longer time to rule. I mean, they have as long as they want, really. They don't really answer to anyone else, so it's not like they have to hurry up if they don't want to. Oh, it's not going to the Supreme Court, actually. I'm looking now. No, Google petitioned to try to get it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court didn't want to hear it.
Oh.
They're still arguing over it, though. Jeez. And they've been fighting over it since 2010.
Yeah.
You know, what blows me away is, right? So, if they started fighting over it in 2010, that means Google would have moved Dalvik away from that stuff back in 2010. So, Oracle can't sue for almost $9 billion worth of damage because Android did not make that much money by 2010. So, and I think that's where the big problem is coming in. Because in the first case, the judge ruled that Google did violate it, but that it was only up to $150,000 worth of damage because it was like it was one function and 8 security files. And they already both agreed to $0 in statutory damages, so you can't rule on that one anymore. You already agreed to it. So I don't know. I guess it's going to keep going.
Yeah. It's interesting. I want to know. I just want this to be resolved because it gives me like
it'll get resolved
nights.
in like 20 years from now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already been 10 years and it's still not resolved. So
yeah.
It might not go anywhere at all. I think what it is Oracle is just a bunch of assholes. Like Google sucks, but Oracle's just being a dick in this particular case, in my opinion. Like I know you have to defend your trademarks and stuff because you'll lose your copyright, but at this point, like you can't keep upping the damage count when Oracle, because once Oracle stops using what you're claiming they used, you can't get them for anything in the future. So any future sold devices. So I don't know. For me, that just seems weird. And as far as I'm aware, I think they're moving away from Java. So like completely. Yeah. So good job, Oracle.
Good job, Oracle. Nobody wants to use your technology, Oracle, you frickin' losers. All right, anyway. What do you guys think about this story?
Language.
I know, right? I gotta like watch myself here.
I know, right? If Lunduke was here, he'd be like, language, young man.
Yeah. I miss Lunduke. He's not on Twitter anymore.
I do miss Lunduke as well. He was so joyful and happy compared to everyone else.
Yeah. He's still on YouTube, though. He's still doing his thing. He's just not on Twitter.
Yeah, but I can't message him anymore.
I want to know what you guys think. Let us know in the show notes, forum.heavyelement.io, what you think about ZFS not being included in the Linux kernel. Let us know what you think about the Google v. Oracle situation. Or send us an email, show@offtopical.net.
Nice.
All right. The next story, Raven, we're talking about Microsoft's Windows Terminal. Have you had a chance to play around with this thing?
I have, actually. Yeah. I gave it a shot. I'm kind of impressed, to be totally honest. Like,
me too.
Like, I like the CRT implement. What is it? The
filter?
Yeah, I like that. I know there's a couple terminals. Isn't it out? Or was I using something else?
The CRT is not. I don't think the filters are out yet. I think they come next week.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if they're in the insider build.
Oh yeah, okay. So I had a chance to play with it. I have a Windows 10 VM on my desktop rig, and I actually installed it, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Now, right now, like it only has PowerShell or the command prompt. I tried PowerShell. I'm not super familiar with PowerShell. I don't know. I mean, it's not.
It's terrible. You can just say
yeah, it's not
terrible.
Great. It's not
just
great.
Say it.
but it is cool because like I was able to be like, hey Carl, we're working on this website together. How about you'll log in over SSH? And I thought he was gonna have to download like PuTTY or something, but PowerShell, you can do SSH in PowerShell.
And Windows 10 includes PowerShell, so
yeah,
which is really nice.
It's like, wow, okay. And then, so the terminal app, though, the terminal thing is actually pretty cool because instead of just doing PowerShell, you can also use shells that are available in like Linux distros that are using the Linux subsystem for Windows.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome. I mean, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Linux subsystem for Windows isn't virtualization, right?
No.
Okay, it's legit like an actual Linux kernel running alongside the Windows kernel.
Yes, from my understanding it is anyway.
Yeah.
I don't really use it because I just use Linux, so.
Right. I haven't used it much either, but I've played around with it and I thought it was pretty neat. But the fact that you can like have multiple shells open, the PowerShell and like Ubuntu shell or whatever, that's pretty cool.
Honestly, it's high time that Microsoft builds like a proper Unixy terminal to replace PowerShell and command prompt.
Yeah.
Like just it needs it. Obviously, they should just adopt all of the Linux commands, because PowerShell, in my opinion, just sucks, and no amount of anything will change that. Sorry.
How would you handle like lettered drives though in a Unix type shell? That's my question. That's up for them to figure out.
That's like, I'm not sitting here figuring out stuff. I guess what they should do is just drop Windows and just switch to Linux. There we go.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Oh, I completely agree.
That would solve everything. I mean, really, at this point, all Microsoft has to do, since just open source.net, open source GDI, open source DirectX, open source UWP, and a lot of the other stuff we just don't need. Like, UWP is actually really nice for those of you who hate Microsoft and have maybe never used it. As far as like from a development standpoint, it's a bit of a pain to work with, because the development environment is a little like, this is so many files everywhere. But it's a really clean API. It's very nice. Like, they put work into it, especially if you've ever used Win32 before. It's like night and day difference. You know, it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like going from X11 to Wayland. Like, it's clean.
Oh, really?
It's modern. Yeah. Well, you know, you think about it. You know, Win32 is ancient, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I watched a video the other day of a guy who was able to install Windows 95 Plus Pack on Windows 10, and the theme switcher in the Plus Pack was actually still able to modify some of the Windows 10 colors and settings.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed.
That's also why Windows 10 has so many security bugs, because they're carried around 25-year-old garbage with them.
For real.
Like, you want to know the real reason why Linux is more secure, or Mac OS is more secure? We abandon old stuff. Like, yeah, X11, you know, the whole X system is still ancient, but it's updated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, you know, gutted every now and then. When Microsoft is like, I mean, my God, like, look, if you have 32-bit, like, if you have, like, a really old game, as long as it's 32-bit and it has a software render, like a proper software render, not some stupid Sims DirectX 8 software render, but it's running inside of DirectX 8, it'll smack you maxes. It'll pretty much work, like, anywhere. In fact, the Sims actually technically still works on Windows. You just have to disable, like, a security thing, because, you know, the original Sims, or either that or install a cracked copy, because you know, you got to disable the DRM that's inside of it, because Windows no longer supports it, so it can't boot. But point is, like, Windows is a testament to someone building something and supporting it for 25 plus years.
Yeah,
and all the problems that are associated with that.
Yeah, it's more like 30 though, right? Because of DOS. Like, there's
they don't support the DOS stuff anymore, because most of the DOS stuff is 16-bit.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
You can have 32-bit DOS programs, but since it relies on DOS stuff, it just doesn't work.
Right. Okay. Fine.
But hell, I mean, 25 years. It's been this year will be the 25th anniversary of Windows 95.
Really?
Yeah. It came out in 1995.
I thought it came out in 94, man.
Maybe it did. Who cares?
I'm going to look it up now.
Yeah, look it up for me so I can correct my statement.
It was available. Oh, no, yeah. I was right. I mean, you were right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're darn right I was right.
Yeah. August 15th, 1995.
Yeah. You know, I actually like the older versions of Windows, like the old versions of Windows. I think XP was probably the last version of Windows I even remotely liked. I mean, I used Vista because, well, I mean, I couldn't use XP because there wasn't a 64-bit version of XP. And for all of you going, but there is a 64-bit version of XP.
No.
For anyone who's ever used it, it barely has driver support. You can't use it.
No,
it's not really very
it's
useful.
Garbage.
And anyone who's ever used it for any length of time is ridiculous because, I mean, it just didn't have good driver support. It did exist, though, and it worked just fine. It was pretty cool, actually. I ran it for quite a while, like a year or so, actually. And then I couldn't get driver support anymore. Anyway, you know, with the new machine, I couldn't get driver support. That was the sucky part about 64-bit. That and Microsoft dropped it. But Vista I switched to because, you know, 64-bit and college and stuff. Still running Linux, you know, dual booter at the time. You know, gotta Got to boot into my awesome Ubuntu with GNOME 2 when it actually was awesome. The good old days. Anyway, but like Windows 98, I loved Windows 98. That and 2000 Professional was really nice. ME can go to hell.
ME, I have like...
you need to down like a bottle of antibiotics after you use ME.
Well, so when I was a kid, my cousin was a PC gamer, and his dad bought a new PC, and it came with Windows ME on it, and I was like, dude, these icons look so good. I've always been an icon nerd. I love icons.
I love the old pixel art icons too.
Me too, yeah. I'm a sucker for pixel art icons.
Haiku OS, man. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Haiku, dude. BOS and Mac OS 9 are my favorite icon sets.
I actually like Mac OS 9.
I do, too. Mac OS 9 is awesome. It's really, really cool.
You ever used Amiga? Amiga's pretty good as well if you've ever used it.
I have never used an Amiga, and I've been told time and time again I need to.
I have an Amiga, and... I recently fixed one up, and it runs Amiga 3.
Yeah.
It's very fun to use. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue, sir.
I don't remember what I was saying anymore.
You're
welcome. Talking about old operating systems.
Pixel art is amazing and wonderful.
Pixel art is awesome. Yes, I am working on some cool stuff with some pixel art, and that's all I'm going to say right now. But it's pretty cool. It's a website. If you were wondering, it's a website.
Of course, it's a website. You code in JavaScript.
Yes, I do. Ugh. I love JavaScript.
You shame me.
JavaScript
you bring
is
shame to this house.
So much fun, dude.
Next time you come home, great. I'm just gonna stand there and I'm just gonna splash water over your face and be like, "Be gone, you vile demon."
How did we get on this? We were talking about.
Because you brought up JavaScript. That's why we got on that.
I didn't bring up JavaScript. You brought up JavaScript.
I was just letting everyone know what you use.
JavaScript is great.
So it's cutting off my foot, but you don't see me doing it.
That does not make sense.
Exactly. Now they're just using JavaScript. You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what were we talking? Okay, so we're talking about the Windows Terminal.
That we are, sir.
So they just are rolling out pretty soon some new effects, some like to give it a retro style, and in the show notes I said better. Yes, I said they're ripping off RetroTerm.
I use RetroTerm.
Cool RetroTerm, because it's cool RetroTerm turns into CRT if you abbreviate it.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
But I just call it RetroTerm because adding that one extra bit is just too much work.
CRT.
Yeah. I love it, man. Dude, I love cool RetroTerm. It hasn't gotten updates in a while, but I mean, what more can it honestly do? It's a terminal. Like,
right.
Like people still build it and maintain it for, basically people only really seem to update it when they need to.
Yeah, you can get it through a snap package or a Flatpak. Did you know that?
Yeah, I have the Flatpak version actually, which is interesting because it's a Flatpak version that actually has like full system-wide access. You know how hard it is to find a Flatpak that's not stupid?
Yeah.
There's gonna be someone on here that is on the dev team of Flatpak and is gonna take offense to that.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm not sorry.
No, I mean you shouldn't be sorry for anything that you say.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. Look, man, if one of you are listening, or is listening rather, I love Flatpak just as much as I love Snaps. Actually, I love Snaps a little more, but I don't know. I'm conflicted, right?
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. If I'm remembering correctly, when we first started this podcast, all you did was bitch and moan about Snaps and Flatpaks.
And a year has passed, and someone has improved. Look, man, I give credit where credit is due. I mean, when we first started this podcast, I hated Elementary OS, and now I'm running it. So, you know, it's look, credit where credit is due. Okay, let's just start at the top. Snaps and Flatpaks have improved themselves across the board. They have significantly better interface integration, everything. Like I can't I can't make fun of them anymore. They fixed all my issues.
Yeah.
Like, they win. I'm sorry.
No, I like Flatpaks.
Yeah, and
Snaps, I'm not a big fan of still. They still take a long time to boot up for me.
Well, they're a big, giant WAD file of data, essentially, because they store everything. See, that's the thing. Snaps are closer to, like, app images that auto-update.
Yeah.
Whereas Flatpaks are a little different because, they store the dependencies in a common folder and only download new dependencies when necessary, which is a cool design. But my issue with Flatpaks has to do with the permission system. So Flatpak permission system seems to just be like whoever makes the Flatpaks, they just seem to like go too far. Like I complained in the last podcast, like the Wire Flatpak for me, anyway, like can't access my other drives. It can only access my boot drive. That's really annoying. Like I know some people are like, well, who cares about that? Well, I mean, I don't store anything on my damn boot drive. So I can't do anything. Yeah. I can't even drop files on there. It irritates the hell out of me.
Right.
I can't do anything.
That was a problem that I had with Wire too, is like I would go to send you something and, the Flatpak couldn't access like my home partition.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really annoying. Yeah. So basically I have to put everything into the home partition, literally everything. Or I could use the, other 8 terabytes that are in my damn machine by just installing the, deb file, which is what I did. The Snap version of Wire does not have that problem for me. So, it's just the maintainer. They just set that permission and, fix it, please. Because I get wanting to be really, really strict, but it's an IM client, so come on, really?
Yeah.
Same reason I use the normal Discord client instead of the Flatpak version. I couldn't even drag and drop files.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, it's just, they go way too far. So it's not really, I guess, it's not so much Flatpaks I have an issue with. It's just specific ones that I don't like. Like, for example, Audacity. Audacity works fine. I can have full system access. LibreOffice works fine. Have full system access. Blender, same thing. GIMP, same thing. Krita, same thing. Inkscape, same thing. It's just like some of them are just weird. Like I downloaded the Flatpak for 0AD. That works beautifully. I love it. I love 0AD. Plus, I don't have to like deal with the super slow repo either. Flatpak's repo is a lot faster of a download for me. And then, as far as snaps, it's basically the same problem, really. Some snaps just have really terrible permissions set up.
Yeah.
But the nice thing I like about snaps is it tells you what the permissions are usually on the page. Flatpak doesn't do that. I wish it did.
Well, can't you like go into the application settings in GNOME for Flatpaks and modify them or see what they are?
No, the permissions. The permissions are per app. The app sets the permissions.
Yeah, but if you go into your GNOME settings panel and you click on applications on the left side, all of the applications.
Is that like a new feature? First off, I don't have GNOME. Yeah. But second off, is that like a new feature for controlling Flatpaks? Because if there's a way to do that, we'll see, you might be clearing up all my issues. It's hard to believe what a year makes. But, a year ago, when I would install Wire Discord, it had it just looked terrible.
Yeah.
Like it looked absolutely atrocious. Yeah. Like, I'm not like you. I don't care that much. But when Wire looks like something from Windows 95, I question it.
Yeah. When it looks like it's a freaking Qt app running in GNOME.
Yeah, it's like at least blend in, which is funny because Wire's Electron, so.
Yeah, I know. Right. Well, it's like, for me, it really bothers me when an app doesn't take on the native what do you call it? Like the native styling of the desktop environment.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Really freaking bothers me.
But they fix that.
Yeah, I haven't used Wire as a Flatpak in a long time, but I had the same problem, and it also was the same way in Snap as well. So yeah, I had issues with that.
I tried the Snap version, and it works fine. It doesn't have that issue anymore, which is nice. Nice. Yeah, they both made great improvements. I don't know which one's going to win. I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah, Flatpak already has one, in my opinion, because like just about every distro now has Flatpaks by default.
The nice thing though about Snaps is that the Snapcraft is so much nicer than Flatpak. That's the sucky part. Like, it's much nicer to go to the Snapcraft store. Also, the Snapcraft store has more stuff on it, which I don't understand.
The thing is, it's like Ubuntu is the dominant distribution. It still is. And I'm not just talking about desktops. I'm talking about like, enterprise. I'm talking about servers. And so like because snaps are the default on Ubuntu, it still has, it still has a place in the race, but like Flatpak is the one that's being used everywhere else. Like if it's not Ubuntu, it's running a Flatpaks instead. So I don't know. That's my take. I mean, the Librem 5 is going to be using Flatpaks as the default package.
Yeah, and I know why they're using that over like Snaps, because Snaps are self-contained and there's just no need for that on the Purism since it's the same hardware.
Yeah.
Like if it was different hardware or whatever, Snaps might be nice, because Snaps are much closer to, like I said, in a way, app images, because app images are huge, but I mean, you can take an app image and run it on like a 10-year-old version of Linux.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, let's be real here. If you want to talk about the real king, it's app image.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't... See, that thing that kills app images is it doesn't really integrate with the system at all.
Not at all.
Like if they figured out a way to do folder. That... you're talking about that third-party thing that does it. You just have to keep it in your downloads folder. If they ever figured out a way to like have a store and make it integrate, and then you can download all the app images from the store, I think app images would blow everyone away. Because, I mean, they just work. They're just so nice. Like, you don't even realize that it's, just any different than any other program. You just double-click it and it opens. Or in the case of Elementary, you single-click it, which I hate, by the way. I'm trying to get used to it.
There's a app image hub, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, like, they need something, like, proper. And then they need, like, support, like Elementary and Ubuntu and all them, like, building it into their software centers and stuff like that. That's what they really need. Yeah. See, what I hope happens, and I said this last time, but what I hope happens is Elementary gets support for snaps. So I can sideload snaps and Flatpaks. Because I would just love that. I've become spoiled by that sort of stuff, I'm not going to lie. Yep. Everyone asks, well, why don't you just use Arch? Because Arch is a pain in the ass, and Flatpaks and snaps are great. Like, they're really convenient. I honestly hate to say it, but they're extremely convenient.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. They're wonderful.
It's been a long time since I've used a Flatpak on Manjaro. Are they integrated into the distro?
I have no idea if they're integrated into Manjaro, but they're integrated perfectly into Elementary. Like, you don't even notice that it's any different than downloading something off the software store. Like, it's just perfect. You have to reboot. You have to reboot after you install the first one for like the icons and for it to show up in the whatever that thing is called on the top left where you click it, the applications menu, I guess. But after that, you don't ever have to do that again. So whatever.
Oh, you have to install it. It looks like. I don't use Flatpaks in Manjaro.
You have the almighty Arch repo, so Yeah. I mean, it's just the almighty Arch repo might take out your system one day, but other than that,
I've only ever run into one issue using.
It's lovely when it does it, man. God, it's lovely when it does it. It's like, goody, I guess I'm doing this today.
Yeah, there was one time I was like working on a video. And Kdenlive kept crashing, and so I'm like, well, maybe I'll update my system, and I'll get a new version of Kdenlive, and it won't crash.
Yeah? How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, the whole system died, and like my video, I didn't get to finish my video. I had to like figure out what was wrong, and then I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna reinstall.
Yeah, that's another thing. I use Kdenlive from FlatHub. And it actually works really well. I was kind of nervous because, Kdenlive is... It's a special program.
Yeah.
It's powerful. It is so powerful, but it is the most finickiest program I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, calling it unstable isn't even accurate. It's just finicky.
So the thing is, it's like, for a while I didn't have any issues, like, recently.
Yeah, and then you updated.
Like, the last 2 or 3 videos I've made, it's just crashed every other time I've used it. You know, it's so obnoxious, but oh well. I like Kdenlive. It's the best open source video editor that I've used.
Yeah,
how did we get to this topic?
Because this topic was far more interesting than talking about Microsoft.
Definitely. Oh, you know what? Here's an interesting thing I learned the other day. GTK doesn't stand for GNOME Toolkit. It stands for GIMP Toolkit.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know. I thought it was GNOME Toolkit.
No way, man. It was started by the GIMP people to make GIMP.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I learned. That I was like, I knew that GTK was made by the GIMP team, but I was like surprised that it was.
They still work
GIMP
on it
Toolkit
too.
For some reason.
GIMP is awesome. Yeah. Good job. Even if GIMP dies, at least GTK will live on.
Yeah, GIMP, dude. There's some cool features in GIMP recently that just came out in the last release.
Yeah, they've been heavily working on. They need to hurry up because Krita's gonna smack the floor with them if they don't start hurrying up.
Yeah,
because they have a lot of stuff on the back burner that is really cool, like a new UI overhaul and a whole bunch of stuff. And it's like they need to just get it done with and get it over with, and get it done because Krita is gonna crush them at this point.
I want layer blending tools like you have in Photoshop. That's what I want. I want to be able to right click on a layer and then be able to add a stroke to it automatically.
Yeah.
That's a freaking killer feature.
I'm fairly certain you can use that. I'm fairly certain you can do that inside of Krita. You should look into Krita.
You can. Yeah, you can do it in Krita.
So many features. It's nuts.
Krita's it's great, but it's also I'm used to GIMP, and so I like GIMP better.
Yeah. Well, no one's stopping you from using GIMP, sir.
Yeah, it's just I want these little quality of life things. One of the things that they just did in the most recent release is you can view pixels that are outside the canvas boundary.
That's nice.
Did you know that, dude?
I did not.
It's so cool. And there's symmetrical drawing now, so you can you can do symmetrical drawings. What I want also is to be able to automatically tile the canvas. And so you can draw anywhere and have it replicated across the tiled canvas. So you can do pixel art easier. That's what I want.
Why don't you just use Aseprite for pixel art?
I like Aseprite. Again, I prefer GIMP because I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, but Aseprite is the god of all pixel art editors.
Yes, but what if I want to do something that's a huge image?
Use Aseprite?
Yeah.
I mean, Aseprite handles massive images just fine.
I know, but
I don't actually know where you were going with that.
I don't know either. I just want. What if I want to make a tiled texture and I want to use GIMP to do it? That's the question.
But why would you do that when Aseprite has a tiled mode? It has a mode.
Why doesn't GIMP have a tiled mode? That's the question I'm asking.
Well, I mean, that's
why
fine.
Are you fighting me on this?
Look, man, Aseprite just has all the nice features. I love it. It's.
I like Aseprite. It's good too, but there are features that GIMP has that Aseprite doesn't.
For pixel art, I don't think GIMP outdoes Aseprite.
I'm not talking about pixel art. I'm
that's
talking
what you said. I'm defeating your point here. Okay.
What if I want to make a tiled image and I don't want to use Aseprite?
I mean, you can use that make seamless thing. I guess if you want.
Yeah, but that sucks. I want to do it
that actually does a pretty good job. A lot better job than you think it would.
No, every time I've used it, it wasn't great, and I'd have to go in and clean it up again.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're gonna probably have to clean it up because it's generated. It's been getting better. Someone keeps working on that thing, and it just blows me away.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so everybody out there, that's the end of this story. Let us know what you think about this segment on the show. The
was a good segment. I don't even want to hear it out of you.
No, it was a good segment. I'm really happy with that. Let us know what you think. Forum.heavyelement.io. You can also watch the video version of this if you're listening to the podcast. YouTube.com/offtopical. We got a vanity URL.
Nice. I need a new chair.
All right, did you hear about this? Firefox just received a patch for a 0-day exploit.
Yeah, so I updated to Firefox 72, and a few hours later, Firefox is like, please restart now. I'm like, what? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The thing about this is that
sorry,
it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean,
this is like a critical flaw.
So what happened was I was on my Windows virtual machine, and I was doing some work. Unfortunately, had to be on there, and it was complaining because usually like Firefox will wait to ask to download a patch, but if Firefox is like, hey, you need to restart to push the update, it doesn't force you to. It's just usually that means that there's an exploit that it's fixing. So I restarted it and then checked it, and it was like security fixes, and then I opened it up and I was like, okay. So then I switched back over to the Linux and ran it, and it was already there too as well, and I was like, wow, it must be pretty damn serious if Canonical was like, hey, we need to update. like we need to update like right now. I didn't really see what the exploit itself did, but given how fast everyone worked to patch it and get it out to everyone, I would say it was probably pretty bad.
Yeah, so it was labeled CVE 2019-17026, and it had basically what it was is a type confusion, and it would allow you to it would allow an attacker to read out of bounds of memory limitations for certain variables. You could even like break out of like address space layout randomization. So like this was kind of a huge deal. You could basically read any piece of memory you wanted from the system when the attacker got it, and it was like remotely it was able to be carried out remotely. So huge vulnerability. Plus, it also the 72.0.1 also had fixes for like 6 or something other issues, including this one. So that's pretty crazy. If you haven't updated already, you definitely need to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I updated straight away as soon as I saw that they forced an update to fix security issues. I was like, well, yeah, I'm gonna go on ahead and update. I was just like, you know what? That's kind of where like I draw the line,
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes I'm a little slow about updating because I'm like, I don't really care.
Right.
Security only fixes though. It's like, maybe I'll update.
Yeah, I was like pretty lagged behind. I was at version like 69.0 or something. So
what do you do? Never update your system at all? Just sit there, never updating?
Yeah, I had like 1,000 packages that I needed to update.
We're like 3 months out of date. How long? No, longer than that.
Yeah,
you're almost 6 months out of date.
I love bleeding edge packages,
so you don't
and that's why I don't update. Because then if I do, what if it breaks?
Just go back to Ubuntu, for God's sakes, man. That is. You know what? When 20.04 LTS comes out, that's what you're moving to. I'll help you. I'll hold your hand.
Definitely not happening.
I'll hold your hand. Shh. I will hold your hand. It's okay.
Stop touching me.
No, I like touching you.
No, man, I don't know.
Like, to update your system, man. Like, come on. Like, even if you ran Ubuntu,
it was only 1,000
your
packages.
System. Yeah,
only 1,000.
Yeah, only.
That's like 2 days in Arch.
That isn't 2 days, and you know it. That's like 6 months. It's
no,
like 6
that wasn't.
months.
Like, I'm pretty sure it was only a couple weeks, like that I hadn't updated.
Yeah, well, Firefox being at 69, considering it Firefox updates every 6 weeks. So that was, it was at least 3 months. You were at least 3 months out of date.
It was like 6 weeks. What are you talking about?
Firefox updates every 6 weeks.
Oh, wait. I said 69. Yeah, I guess that must have been.
Yeah.
I don't
see why you would update everything and then be like, you know what? I'm happy with this version of Firefox. I don't want the new version. Click. So you're at least 2 to 3 months out of date. That is ridiculous, man. You should, shame. For shame.
You know, there's your attack vector, everybody.
Gardner.
The thing about this vulnerability though was like it was so severe that the U.S. Cybersecurity Infrastructure Agency issued a warning that you needed to update. Like that's kind of rare for them to do that. How often have you seen that agency actually issue a warning?
Not too often, because they only really do it when it's really serious.
Yeah, and the other thing is like the reason that they got this out so quickly is because that it was there was an exploit in the wild that was already taking advantage of it.
Nice. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Wonder which government it was.
China. Mozilla actually credited a Chinese-based security research company called Qiu or Qiu, maybe QIHOO. So that's pretty cool. Or Qiu 360, Qihu. I don't know. I'm gonna stop now.
It's fair.
But yeah. Anyway, good job Mozilla getting that patch out. Good job Canonical and all the other distros for getting that patch out through the package manager so quickly. Good job, America. I'm like slap happy right now, my dude. I am like ridiculous.
Why? Because you were 3 months out of date and had 1,000 packages?
No.
I hope everyone hounds you for that one after they listen to this.
Whatever. Nobody listens this far into the podcast anyway.
Oh, there's a few people. Helium does. Hello, Helium.
Hello, Helium. If you're listening to, if you're hearing this part right now, leave in the comments that you're the biggest fan of the show, either on the show notes or on the YouTube comments.
Oh, that's a great idea because they really would be the biggest fans if they listen this far.
Yeah. Say,
it's almost an hour of nothing.
I'm the biggest fan of Off Topical. Fight me.
Oh.
That's what you're going to say in the comments. I'm the biggest fan of Off Topical. Fight me.
Wow. As Lunduk would say, I think we all need hugs in here.
Yes. Lunduk is the one who's going to post that comment. You'll see. You'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway. I don't know. What's going on in your life, man? You just want to get personal for a second?
No.
No.
No, I'd rather go back to talking about how you let a Linux system get 3 months out of date.
Oh, whatever. Release
you know what? I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down on a sticky note, and I'm going to put it on my wall of sticky notes, and every time I look at it, I'm going to message you and be like, so, Gardner, how'd you let your system? Did you update today?
Actually, hold on. I did update today.
Oh,
let's go to my updates. Updates. Check it out.
What'd you get?
Let's see. There is one update available from Thunderbird, and I updated today already.
Dude, I love Thunderbird, man.
I love Thunderbird too. Thunderbird is like the best mail client, but it could be better. I have things.
I should make a video. Mail client, by the way?
No, I haven't.
You know what you should do, since we're just going to talk about random stuff since it's the end of the podcast anyway? You should start a video series where you try random Linux applications.
Yeah.
Like 10-minute videos. They don't really have to be that long. I mean, obviously it'll take you a lot longer to research it and try it so you can actually show it off. But like the elementary mail application, it ain't half bad. I mean, Thunderbird is better, but I mean, it's hard to beat Thunderbird anyway.
Yeah.
It's based on like Geary or whatever. This is basically all it is, really, at this point.
Okay.
But it's nice. Like, it's pretty slick.
Geary is my favorite user interface for a mail client.
It really is nice. I will give them that. Like so Geary, pretty. Bravo to the Geary people.
Heck yeah. I think it's one of the best GNOME 3 style applications.
You know, I think it's their new design style that they need to move all their applications to.
Yeah.
To be totally honest. It's much better laid out than anything else. On the other hand, it also really feels like Thunderbird. Like, that's the other problem I have with it. It feels like a uber simplified version of Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of the features that are in Thunderbird, I'll never use anyway.
Yeah. I don't use scheduling in Thunderbird at all.
Nope. I don't really use it that much. Because I have Proton Mail now. And if Proton Mail paid us, I'd talk more about that. But actually, no, I'm going to talk about it. So I use Proton Mail now because, Gmail sucks. And I don't really feel like running my own mail server.
Yeah.
Because, it's a pain in the ass.
It's a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I've done it.
And it's like really cheap. I think it's like $5 a month. I don't have the other plan. I just I get a fair bit, and I've moved almost everything away from my Gmail. Can you believe that?
That's pretty impressive.
You know how long that took?
Probably quite a long time.
You know how annoying that was? I had to make phone calls to get some of those changes done.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the only thing I haven't changed is my bank. Just because Google's not going anywhere, and if I forget to, pay Proton Mail for some reason, I don't really want to lose all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or would I lose it? You know what? I'm going to message them, because if it rolls down to a free account, then I'll do it. I'll switch. Anyway, back to the original topic at hand here. I changed everything pretty much away from Gmail and put it. So naturally, of course, I'm not signing into Proton Mail, because Proton Mail is like every time you go to the page, it's like, please sign in. And I'm like,
yeah,
just, like, what? He's like, you saved my login credentials. Why do I have to click a button? Why are you doing this to me? Anyway, so I set up Geary. I switched to Thunderbird in the end, but yeah, Geary's pretty nice, man.
Yeah.
A lot of the GNOME apps are nice. Earlier in this podcast, you were nice enough to say that, I like Elementary OS and I like Flatpaks and I like Snaps and all this stuff now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
You are right. Like, Linux is evolving to a point where a lot of these applications are like really robust, and quite frankly, I wish Windows had some of these applications like built in.
Yeah.
Like, everyone deserves these applications. Like, they're core essentials that everyone uses, and you know what? They work.
Yeah. The thing is, I was watching this one video and the other day, and it was like, I think it was from Tom Scott, and I think it was like 6 years old or 5 years old or something like that. And he was like talking about, like, if you use Mac OS, if you use Windows, it doesn't make a difference. If you use Linux, though, just no, right? And it's like, people, like, most of the people I know who had that attitude back then, like 5 years ago, their attitude has changed towards Linux.
Yeah, I mean, look at that.
Even if it's
sorry.
Even if it's like, even if it's just like, I prefer Windows, but Linux is actually a totally viable option now. I mean, like Linus Tech Tips, he was like dead set against Linux for the longest time, and now they talk about it quite frequently on their channel.
I mean, Linux is different, and I think I don't know if it was DistroTube or DistroQuest, or hell, it could have been EG. I don't know who it was. I think all of them could have said it. Is it DistroQuest? That's your thing. That's right. It might have been you. It might have been DistroTube. It was someone. What's his name? Chrisware Digital. Could have been him.
Yeah.
But I was watching some video, and they made a good point about how everyone comes to Linux expecting Windows.
Mm-hmm.
And, because I don't really think about it. I'm like, we're biased because, using Linux is the same for us as using Windows. Like, it's effortless.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, like, it's weird quirks and issues that crop up. We don't have to go to Google to fix them. We just, we groan and we curse and we flip the table and then we fix them.
Yeah.
Well, maybe don't flip the table, but sometimes you do. And like I think that's the problem. Like a lot of people come to Linux wanting Windows, when in reality what they want is Windows.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. So whenever I try to like convert people now, which I don't really do too often, but I do it every now and again, is that, you know, it's not Windows. So don't expect it to work like Windows. And if you have that mindset, you know, you might enjoy it more. And it's a really great thing. But, like, you know, like, look at what's his name? The Forbes guy who randomly tried Linux one day to write an article and then, like, fell into the fucking Linux ocean.
Yeah, Jason Evangelo.
Yeah, like, literally fell in it. Like, you know, I'm going to write an article for Linux. What do you guys think? Oh, okay, I'll write an article for Linux. 2 years later, dude's walking around with like a full beard and a freaking massive shirt that says Linux. Like,
and
like what happened to you, man?
Linux podcast and like half of the articles, if not more, are about Linux that he writes. And I met him in Denver, actually. I don't know if I told you that.
No, you didn't.
But yeah, I met him in Denver. He's a really, really cool dude. Really cool. Super chill.
I'm like, holy crap! Like, what happened to him? Like, I don't really know him before this, so I don't know if he was ever against Linux. But I have to say, like, wow. Just, wow.
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, we're very used to people going, Linux sucks.
Yeah.
And he tried Linux and was like, oh my god, I love you. Like, what? I mean, that's great, but it's like, just, I was blown away, because, you know, usually journalists and stuff like him, especially tech journalists, they tend to just be so anti-Linux.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculously anti-Linux.
I'm looking at his, like, you know, all the stories he's written for Forbes for the last, like, 3 months. Literally all of them are Linux. I don't think there's a single one here that isn't Linux.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He only cares about Linux now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And, you know, he was actually telling me when we were in Denver, he said, people were telling me that I really need to come to, like, a Linux event. And I kind of like wrote it off, like, you know, oh, it's just an event. Like, but then he said, as soon as I got here, everyone was so cool and welcoming and awesome that it was just an amazing experience. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, Linux is cool, but like the thing that makes Linux completely different from like Windows is the community. Like, the community aspect of being a Linux user is such an awesome thing. It's like, it is a defining feature of of being a Linux user. Being involved with the community, talking with people, meeting new friends.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's so great.
Because, you know, Windows, you know, with Windows, you know, you're buying a product. You're not really friends with Microsoft. In fact, you can't be friends with Microsoft. There's no person to be friends with. But you can be friends with Cortana. Yeah, if you like the government, I guess.
Yeah.
Creepy. Anyway, but you know, like if you're a really big fan of GNOME Web, which I think now is called what? Epiphany? What's it called now?
Yeah, Epiphany GNOME Web, I think, is the actual term.
Oh, okay.
The actual name.
But you know, if you really, really like it, you can just join the IRC channel and just start chatting with the dude who made it and said you like it. And he'll probably appreciate that. Or she. I don't know if it's a guy or not. I don't really know. I know the original maintainer was a guy, but I don't know if it might be a woman now. Doesn't really matter. Point is, you know, you can just, you know, you just find these people. You know, if you like Elementary, you know, you can find Cassidy James. You'd be like, dude, I love your design work for, you know, Elementary.
Yeah. Cassidy is pretty cool.
It's you know, there's public faces to all these people that maintain and run these projects, and because it's not a paid platform designed solely to make money, you know, you network with them easier.
Yeah.
You know, like Microsoft has to be like really, really careful, because and don't get me wrong, like, I'm sure that there's tons of Microsoft people, and there are actually tons that are, you know, very public, and if you like something, you know, you can message and all, but, you know, they have to be very careful about what they say, because, you know, like, the wrong thing gets taken wrong, and their stock tanks, or, you know, depending on how high up there, you know, they just have to be so careful. With Linux, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, pending them saying something, like, really, really bad, which is pretty rare.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, just look at, like, the way Linus used to interact with the kernel mailing list.
I liked the way Linus used to interact with the mailing list. I know everyone's like, he's so much nicer now. I'm like, but nice doesn't get the job done, to be fair. It really doesn't. Like, I'm not saying he should be mean, but I never really viewed him as mean. I just viewed him as a guy who had to deal with thousands of people a day, and nobody was doing anything right, and the fastest way to do that was to be an asshole.
Right.
Like, that's how I view it. I never viewed him as being mean.
Yeah. I like this community a lot. I like even the more abrasive people in the community.
You're
welcome.
Think
that oh, that's why we're friends.
I know, right?
But I don't know. Being part of the community is just so great. And I don't even remember how we got on this topic, but I just wanted to say to everybody out there who's a part of the community, thank you for being awesome. Yeah. Raven, I think that might be a good place to end it. What do you think?
Hold on a second. There is a GNOME maintained application called Marker, which is a markdown editor that supports HTML and LaTeX conversion of markdown documents as well.
What?
Yeah, it's called Marker.
Since when?
I don't know, since forever. It hasn't had an update in a while, but it exists. It even has a sketch program in it.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to install that and try it.
Like, what? Like, why? Why was that never...
Why doesn't it come stock as part of...
Yeah, because, like, I mean, maybe because it's not maintained anymore, maybe. But no, it's still maintained.
It's GTK3.
Yeah, the last update was 2 months ago. They added some stuff.
Yeah, November 6th.
Yeah, they updated the README and some stuff.
I'm downloading it from the AR.
Why did... Like, because the thing is, right? Like, in my opinion, what GNOME really needs is, like, a light word processor.
Uh-oh.
Like, just a really
Discord crashed.
lightweight word processor. Not like all the features of LibreOffice, but just like a really simple one. I mean, ideally, it'd be nice if they had their own Office suite. But, I mean, that's a lot of work.
Mm.
But, like, a really simple... And I mean an actual word processor. Freaking gedit does not count.
No.
Because, even... Like, come on. Windows has WordPad.
Yeah.
Unrelated, did you know WordPad can open ODT documents?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either. Until, like, the other day.
Huh.
Had no idea. I had absolutely no idea that Microsoft even knew what the ODT file format was.
Right.
I thought it was just a thing that Microsoft hated. But anyway, Marker looks awesome, dude. Like, it actually looks absolutely fantastic. And I wrote an entire application that does more than this. And yet...
Oh, really?
GNOME already had one. Like, built in. Yeah, really. I wrote it in Vala. It was a big project. It was fun.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
And then see, for me, Markdown, I just use VS Code or Code OSS, and I use...
Yeah, but this thing has, like,
Markdown.
split view and everything. You can resize it, put images in there, all sorts of stuff, man.
Yeah.
And
The image thing is probably nice.
Yeah, like, that's awesome.
All right. I think
I'm
that
done
might
now.
be it for this show.
I'm done now. I'm sorry. I'm done talking now.
That's all good, man.
You can end it now.
Yeah. Did you realize that Discord crashed while you were talking?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. You just kept talking.
I know. YOLO.
That's cool. YOLO, dude. All right. I think that's it for this episode. Thank you all for listening. Again, if you listened this far into the show, you need to leave a comment that says, I'm actually the real true fan of Optopical.
Because
that's how we know that you are awesome. But thank you for listening. That's the whole show. Raven, thanks for being here, my friend.
Love being here.
This is the Optopical Podcast. Let's do this again soon.
Oh, nice. I need a new chair.
You need a new chair?
Yeah, this one's really squeaky and I can't move.
Oh. It's fine. I won't edit the squeaks out.
Good, thank you. I'll buy a new chair.
Yeah, I need a new chair. This one's kind of creaky too. You can hear it.
Yep.